Hey guys, this is Aloha, and today I'm going to show you how to do two-handed swords and axes with constraints for Unity 2018 for VRChat 2020 or whatever it's called. So without further ado, here's my disclaimer on how to make sure that you have to do this exactly how I do it. Because if you do something way different, or you click something by accident that's not exactly how I do it, then it's the chances of your sword working can break just like that, and then you may have to restart. So please don't just skip ahead and just assume, oh yeah, I can copy this bit here and it should just make sense, but you have to understand why this happens. So without further ado, first is you want to bring your sword or axe into the scene, right? Size it down accordingly. And the principle of the sword and axe two-handed stuff is very similar to my video on two-handed guns. In terms of, if you look here on the armature, you can see that this here is a minus value. You want to make sure these are 0, because the reason why this is a minus is because the I've done this before, but the y-axis on the actual sword is different to the y-axis on the sword here that's in Unity or Blender. So like I said, y-axis is different in Blender, but in Unity it's also different here, so they have some sort of translation issue. But in the armature it's fine, it's all good. But because I think it's just how Unity handles when it makes game objects, it defaults the y-axis to be up. But anyway, the other thing you want to make sure you do is to make sure that your sword or axe is facing the same direction as your avatar. So this is just an example. Don't do this. This is just a visual example of what you need to do. So what we are doing right now is preparing the weapon. Preparing the weapon for constraints, because constraints can break things if you do things incorrectly, because it snaps in really weird ways when everything is not zeroed out properly. So to do this, go into Blender, pull up your weapon, and then I'll go into front view. I go the same view, front view, or facing the same way that the avatar is all facing towards, and then I'll press 1 on the numpad. 1 on the numpad, and you can see that this is the same as this now in terms of the view. So we want to rotate this, right? So we go, let's go 90. So that's rotating this way. Control A, the rotation. So applying the rotation. Export it. Okay, so that should change. You can see it changes, but we want it to come down. So what I do is I just rotate this enough that it comes around. So let's go 270, right? File and then also apply. So that's Control C, remember. Export FXB, and then let's go here. It's there. Okay, we need one more rotation. 90. Apply rotation, and then maybe do one more 90. So then it's actually facing this. But this last time that you add this 90 to the rotation there, don't apply it. And also, if you're wondering how to get this menu out, there's a little plus sign up here, so click that so you can actually do the stuff that I'm doing there. So export it. Alrighty, and that should be done. And then let's just check the armature. Yep, all this is zeroed out, so armature is the right way around, and the sword is pointing the same way that the avatar is sitting. Okay, so the next thing I like to do is create some game objects. Create empty. Create empty. So, okay, well this comes up. This is a new thing that Unity does, but basically you just have to unpack it, and this sort of solves that problem. So then what I do is I copy the transforms of the weapon over. You don't have to always do this, because when you if you do it under the parent of something, it will create it based off that parent. But it's a good habit to apply the transforms from the original, just so you know it's all good. So then let's rename these to root 1 and root 2, and this is just how I used to do it for Final IK, and it's a good habit to get into. So root 2, right? And so then you can pretty much drag this in here, and actually before you drag this in here, you want to make sure that the pivot point is in the right position. So you just drag this like here, right? And let's just make sure that's the same for that. So just drag that up. So this just changes the origin point of the object itself. So then instead of it being down there, when you click this, it's up here. So then this is important as well, because when you apply the two-handed part, this is where it will pivot from. Just can't stress that enough. So now this is ready to go. Oh, I say that now, but this is the best time to then now actually position the weapon in your primary hand. So let's put her in there now. So let's put it about there. Rotate it like so. And that's close enough. I'm not going to get too fussy with this because this is just how it's showing you how this works. Then you can now drag this into your hierarchy of your avatar, make it a child of that. So then the next step is to create a few game objects, and rename this one to, I don't know, the target, hand target. So this is just so it follows the sword, follows the hand at all times. And then this game object is called, let's just call this two-handed target, and that's just that's the target. So for when it's when you're doing your two-handed stuff. So what you can do now is then copy the transforms again, paste them into the hand target, then go back to the root and then add a component, type in constraint or something that's constraint, get the parent constraint. Then what you do is you add a source, activate it, drag the hand target in, lock it, then you're done for that portion. Then you can drag this straight into your hand. And then the beautiful thing about Unity, with the constraints I should say, so you don't need to press play to actually test this. This is actually just moving around now. Like you can just move it around, and if it, you'll know it works because you can't move this anymore because it's now being referenced. It's being referenced from the hand target, or yeah, the reference is the hand target. So now the next step is to then do the two-handed part. So this is why I do it like this. So you do it like I set up the game objects like this. So now root 2, you want to then go aim constraint, open that up, sources, activate that, or give it a source, throw this, actually don't throw this in just yet, but instead actually I like to move this slightly down about there, just somewhere around there. It doesn't matter because it's just going to slide around, you'll see why when you actually use it once you set this up properly. So now you just throw this in here, then you activate it, lock, and this should just follow like so. So that's your second target, and then you can just drag this straight into your left hand, and that's done. This is literally it. You just put it there, position it in the hand. Oh, actually, sorry, there is something you should have done. Actually, sorry. There is something you need to do, actually. So we actually have to kind of do that part again. I almost forgot. So because you want to unlock a rotation. So actually, that's why I opened this up. Untick the Z-axis. Make sure you do this. Please make sure you do this before you do anything else. So then drag this in, activate it, lock it, then you can drag this. So this is now done. So the reason why you have to do that is you want to, with constraints, if you have all the rotations locked, you'll lose when you have it on your primary hand. The aim constraint takes control of the parent constraint in terms of its rotations, because it's just looking at a target, right? It's aiming at a target. So if you unlock one of the rotation constraints, you can still regain the sort of rotation with your hand when you move it. When you rotate your wrist, right? You want it to like kind of move with the sword to move with your fist when you're rotating. If you don't do that, then it just stays in place because it's been locked. So man, it's kind of hard to show when we're in. So like this, you know. So you can still rotate it around, but it will still like do the two-handed part. So basically this part's done now. Like, it's done. Like, it's ready to go. If you want it to be just always on, you can do that. But if you don't, you can just turn the weights down on the root 2 of the aim constraint. And actually, I'm going to show you how to do the gesture part now. So you can just actually, you don't have to duplicate it, but in this case, some people just know how to do it this way. What you can do is actually, you can either throw the controller on, or you can do it this way. This is just the best way to do it, or easiest, quickest way. So that creates that. And then all you do is you just go, oh, sorry, another thing I forgot to do. Please don't forget to drag this in. Drag that in there. Then it should be good. So then this is now the target. So then when we turn this back on, it should follow the hand. Sorry, I forgot about that. So you'll see it's being influenced and all that shit. So anyway, let's turn that off again. So, as I was saying, so you have to like bear with me because I'm kind of like making wee mistakes here. Let's delete that. So duplicate this, throw that in there, and this is your animation. And all you want to do is, if you want it to just go from this state to the other one, is you just turn this up, right? That's all you need to do. And let's just hide this because that's probably getting confusing. So then when we do this, just copy this over, Control C, Control V, bada bing, bada boom, and that's all you need to do. It's all ready to go. So then when you, I don't know, throw this on first, for example, when you do the first, it will nicely, smoothly transition to your hand. You can actually do it another way. So if you want to, instead of doing the weights, you want to do the target itself, the actual source, you can turn that off or turn it back on, whatever. That's another way to do it, but you don't have to do that. That actually does a really weird snap when you actually mess around with the source. But anyway, this is all you have to do. This is pretty much done. It's ready for VRChat. So then you can go ahead and just upload this avatar, and away you go. So I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned how to do the two-handed weapons or swords. And if you've got any questions, please answer down in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer them. Okay, see ya.